Hello everybody, my name is Mitch and today I'm going over full card fight predictions for Reyes versus Prochazka. If you're new here, we'll go over the full card fight predictions first and then I'll give you the reasons why. Damon Jackson, Pauliano Patello, Luana Panero, Jonathan Pierce, Journey Newson, Sean Strickland, Luma Lukbunmi, Andreas Micheladies, Kai Kamaka, Marab Devasheli, Giga Chakotsky, Augustus Sakai, Ion Kutalaba, and Yuri Prochazka. Those were some tough names and the picks. I'll go into the reasons why. I'll show the odds here. If you care, go ahead and pause it. I'll go to the next set of odds here just so you can see them all. First, we have Damon Jackson versus Luke Sanders. If we look at Damon Jackson, he's in his prime at 32. At least I feel like that's around prime age. He has a longer reach, and I feel like his loss is better here to Tapiria. Luke Sanders, 35. A little over his hump. You could argue 35 could still be in his prime, and you never know. You have like Jan Blachowicz, who's doing well after that, but a late to Nate Maness here. Both of these fighters like to finish. Both of them are really tough. I'm excited to see how this one goes. Pauliano Patello versus Luana Carolina. Maybe I'm a sucker for age and stuff like that, but again, we have the 32-year-old. She also just has more experience in the UFC. Fights against Cynthia Calvillo and Jillian Robertson. I'm not saying experience is everything, but I do think it means a lot. On Luana Carolina's side, we see that she's 27. She's coming off of a loss to Ariana Lipsky. A lot less experience in the UFC, and I just think experience means a lot. You have to earn your stripes. In my opinion, I'm going with Pauliano Patello. Next, we have Randa Marcos versus Luana Panero. Now, 10-10 is one of the worst records I can remember in recent history. We have 35 here. Again, right over that hump of 32, 33, in my opinion. I think that's where the prime is. Again, a 3-fight losing streak here. On the other end, we have Luana Panero. She's 27. She's gets a finish in the first round apparently all the time. I think the UFC is trying to push her, give her a layup here, see if she can perform in the UFC against someone who's a little more experienced. I think she is going to succeed. Next, we have Gabriel Benitez versus Jonathan Pierce. I feel like Gabriel Benitez is what the fans may call a journeyman. If you look at his recent record here, it's just a lot of wins and losses here, pretty much 50-50. I think what's happening on this side for me is for Jonathan Pierce, I was just really impressed with this Kai Kamaka win. Kai Kamaka, I feel like, is pretty credentialed and a skilled fighter, and we'll get into him later, but I do think that Jonathan Pierce was able to dominate him, get a lot of takedowns. I see him being able to do what he can standing up and get the takedowns to get the win here. Of course, I think that Gabriel Benitez is going to bring the fight, as everyone from AKA you can expect will, but I am going with Jonathan Pierce for this one. Next, we have Felipe Colares versus Journey Newson. I'm pretty much just going off of who I thought looked better in their most recent fight. Here against Montel Jackson, I thought Felipe looked pretty bad stand-up, even though there wasn't that much for the most part. Montel Jackson just went for the takedown and got them very easily. For Journey Newson, I remember watching this Ricardo Ramos fight. He lost pretty much most moments of the stand-up, but it did look competitive. Ricardo Ramos is really good at stand-up and really aggressive, and he's really long and has a lot of tools, and given all of that, Journey Newson was doing what he needed to do, or was trying things and not giving up in the fight. I gained a lot of respect for him in that fight. At any rate, I'm going to go with Journey Newson here. Next, we have Sean Strickland versus Khruskov, Joko. These fighters are pretty similar. We have 30, 22-3, 3-win streak. On the other end, 31, 22-4, 3-win streak. I'm going to go against Joko here. I feel like his level of competition is not quite as high, and he's not getting finishes as superficial as that is. In fact, we have a split decision here. On the other end, we have 2 finishes here with the unanimous decision win. Higher competition, Kamaru Usman, Tom Breeze, and Brendan Allen. I respect him as well. I'm going to go with Sean Strickland for this one. Next, we have Sam Hughes versus Loma Lukbunmi. I agree with the favorite, but I don't know if I agree with the odds. On Sam Hughes' side, it's kind of hard to say. She's 28, losing to Tecia Torres, pretty bad, but that's kind of expected with Tecia Torres, especially if you're making your UFC debut. That's a tough UFC debut there. On the other end, we see a loss to Angela Hill, a win against Jin Yu Frey. This was a pretty good fight. She showed a lot of power striking, a lot of good kicks, a lot of power in the clinch. I think she's shown enough to make me think she's going to win this fight. However, the odds I feel like are a little off here. KB Bueller versus Andreas Micheladies. On KB Bueller's side, I did not think he looked too great against Tom Breeze. On Andreas Micheladies' side, I like the decisions he was trying to make. He was trying to go for a late round takedown, which is always good to see, trying to snatch that round right before he did get elbowed to the head. But that was a short camp. I'm excited to see him on a full camp. I'm going with Andreas for this one. Kai Kamaka versus TJ Brown. I've already mentioned how I'm pretty high on Kai Kamaka. We see some wins in Bellator, LFA, and the UFC. It's weird to see a striker kind of win unanimous decisions all the time, especially when it's going to go against TJ Brown, a man who's getting a lot of finishes here. 2 losses in the UFC. I think Kai Kamaka is going to be able to control this one with the stand-up and win another unanimous decision. Merab Dvalishvili versus Cody Stamann. This is quite the mismatch if you ask me. Look for Merab to go in there and ragdoll, be very aggressive on the feet, get the takedown, and literally ragdoll Cody Stamann around. Maybe not necessarily ragdoll, but definitely get the takedowns and control him on the ground. Cody Stamann's side, we have a lot of very good wars, respectable fights, but I really just don't think he's at the level of Merab. I'm going with Merab. Next we have Cub Swanson versus Giga Chakotsky. Man, I wish this fight was closer to Cub Swanson's arguable prime, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, but at this point, 37 years old, at this point, you know me in age, I'm gonna have to go with Giga here. Giga is a monster. It's not just about age. I mean, he's like the prospect killer. A lot of these wins are against prospects. And Jamie Simmons is a good prospect. Omar Morales, Jamal Emmers, those are fighters I like in any other fights, but Giga just seems to destroy prospects, and now they're going to give him a veteran in Cub Swanson. I think he's going to pass this test as well. Shamil, Agdu, Kimov versus Augustus, Sakai. I'm never going to learn my lesson with these older big dudes. I honestly have this theory that for the bigger guys, being older is different. We have Jan, DC, Glover, but anyway, I am going to go with the younger fighter here in Augusto Sakai. We have Shamil Abdurakhimov. He's got, pretty good track record here. They have very similar track records. Marcin Tybura, Andrei Arlovski, and Chase Sherman. We'll see that on Augusto Sakai's side as well. But I do think he has faster hands, more active hands, and they're heavier. I'm going to go with Augusto Sakai. Ian Cutelaba versus Devin Clark. Ian Cutelaba is crazy, and he has a crazy fight style. He just goes in there and tries to take your head off. It's crazy, but it's also really dangerous. We see him getting finished, but he also just goes for the finish there. I feel like with Devin Clark, though, he's generally winning by unanimous decision. With that being said, I feel like Ian Cutelaba is safe to kind of go in and be crazy and doesn't have the third being finished. Of course, any of these guys can finish any of them at any given time, but just the style of their fights and things like that. I'm going with Ian Cutelaba. And now for the main event, we have Dominic the Athlete Reyes versus Yuri Prochazka on Dominic Reyes' side. Other than this John Jones fight, very competitive, very good. We have a pretty sus resume, if I'm being honest. Chris Weidman was trying to move up from 185. Jared Cannonier is now at 185, although he is huge. We have Volkan Ozdemir. That's a good split decision win there. On Yuri Prochazka's side, I mean, when the UFC comes in and gives you Volkan Ozdemir for your UFC debut and you finish with an overhand, right? I am on the bandwagon. I mean, he's first round finish, first round, third round, first round. I mean, this is a scary man at 205. I'm going with Yuri Prochazka with this one. Thanks for watching this video. Leave a comment and let me know what you guys thought. If you liked it, leave a thumbs up. If you disliked it, leave a thumbs down. Please hit that subscribe button. Follow me on any other platforms. I will see y'all Saturday. Peace.